You talk about drugs in this book, and I'm really glad that you called it out because, it's something that I've thought a lot about. I spent a lot of my life as an alcoholic. I had an overdose from heroin. I'm sober now, and it's something that I think about a lot. And you call out the fact that we need to not be on drugs and not necessarily put our kids on drugs. And I'm guessing it's a way of saying you need to be present with you in your mind because that's where the answers are. I want to get your thoughts on that. But when I look back at why I had these struggles, I think I was trying to get away from pain, and that's why I would go to medicate myself. But now that I look at it, that actually stopped me from getting where I needed to go fast enough. If I had actually been with the pain and been with that, I think then I would have actually learned and found that I was doing the wrong things and connected with my purpose. And so now when I'm ever in that point where I'm like, this really sucks, I don't want to be here anymore. The old Brian would have gone to have shots of tequila. I'm like, okay, let's be present with it. And strangely enough, I find I can resolve things much quicker than I used to. Your thoughts on drugs?
Yeah, specifically in the book, I talk about ADD and ADHD, right? And people being diagnosed with that. And then the first response. So first of all, let me state that there's nothing wrong with being diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. The question, what I'm challenging is, what do we do about that diagnosis? So do we drug people right away, drug kids right away? Or if ADD is attention deficit disorder, having trouble keeping attention on one thing, my awareness on one thing, then that means the person is distracted, is having trouble concentrating or focusing. Shouldn't we then try and teach them how to concentrate and help them to practice concentration so they can be good at it? Now, if teaching them and helping them practice over a period of 2 or 3 or 4 years doesn't work, then maybe drugs potentially could be a solution. But to not train somebody, teach somebody and help them practice it and just drug them, I think that's incorrect. When parents come up to me and says, I had a man come up to me and I mentioned the story in the book. He says, my son has ADD, he's been diagnosed with ADD, and now he's on drugs, and I'm really unhappy about it. And I said, look, I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't fully understand ADD, but tell me what's the essence of the problem. He said, essentially, my son can't concentrate. He's easily distracted. So the doctor diagnosed him with ADD and put him on medication. Then I asked him, I said, if your son can't concentrate, have you ever taught him how to concentrate? He goes, no. Then I go, why would you drug him then? If your son couldn't play the piano, would you drug him for that? If your son didn't know how to put food in his mouth without hitting his lips and his chin and dropping it all over the floor, would you drug him for that? It's not I don't think I'm making a bad argument here.
Yeah, it worries me how much kids are medicated these days. I mean, that wasn't happening back in the day.
It's insane. And also adults, right?
Yeah.
And also adults.
Yeah, true.
So we never taught this in school. So I feel, like going back to what you were saying in terms of how you responded to challenging times, I feel also so much of when we are growing up, we're never taught about life. We're never taught, like you said earlier in the show, about finding our purpose in life, learning about our mind. We're never empowered with tools. So we grow up not having anything at all. Then we run into a crisis in life. So we turn to what we see around us, which could be sex, drugs, alcohol. And I don't blame people for turning to any of those things because I go, have we even given them an alternative? Have they even been shown an alternative? So if someone has a problem and they turn to sex or drugs or alcohol and go like, well, they're not to be blamed. No one's ever given them a second option. No one shown them another way. Who sat down with you, Brian, and walked you over years, showing you how your mind works, how to handle challenges? No. You turned to what you saw around you. You went to that place and then you worked yourself out of that place. And over the years, you've learned and grown and changed your life, which is an amazing example. But most people aren't as blessed as you to be able to do that.
I remember you told me, I'm having flashbacks to our former conversations where when you were a monk in Hawaii for 10 years, they taught you how to do things that no one in the world has been taught to. I remember they taught you how to sleep. I think I remember you telling me, and they taught you how to do it, right? And you're like, and it was interesting because you're like, people think that's funny, but no one ever teaches people how to sleep or how to concentrate or all these basic things, whereas you were taught, right?
We were taught how to sleep. We were taught how to wake up. We were taught how to wipe ourselves with a towel after we shower. We were taught what to do when we were sleeping, where in the area of the mind to go to in our mind while we slept so that we would be restful and have deep sleep and have inner learnings as well in certain areas of the mind. Mundane things, we were taught how to make our bed, how to eat. Wild. I mean, these are basic things that every human being does all day long, do all day long, but we assume everyone knows how to do it, and we don't teach them proper or better ways to do them. And there's always a better way to do something.
Yeah.
We just assume people know how to do it.
I think your clip on how to get to sleep is like one of our popular ones where you talk about that awareness in the mind and taking things down your appendages and into the spine. So it's really good stuff. You've got a concept I think you talk about called the power of small, where I think you get people to do these incremental, sustainable changes in their behavior. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think, in the West, we're very try to take on the whole thing. I don't know if we're inspired by Hollywood or not. It feels like a one-man army, like Rambo can go in and take on a whole army by himself. And we bring that attitude to our personal development and growth, like I can do this, I can soul cycle, I can do this, I can do that. And the mind and body doesn't work that way. I look at the mind as a muscle, and the best way to change it is in tiny incremental steps. And all great things in this world were created in small steps. I give an example of Angkor Wat, the world's largest temple in Siem Reap in Cambodia. It's still standing today 1,000 years later. It's 1 square mile in size. It was built one brick at a time, one rock at a time, one stone at a time. And decades later, you have this amazing temple that stands 4,000 years. So I look at personal development, personal growth, as taking small, tiny steps. Small steps are doable, right? Small steps are achievable. Small steps are not daunting. If you ask me to walk from New York to LA, I'm going to go like, holy crap, that's a long distance. But if you ask me to take one step in that direction, I can feel comfortable doing that. And I can feel confident doing that as well. So if you look at your life in that approach, then things become much more doable. But I also feel that technology gives us so much instant gratification right away, right? And we take that instant gratification and bring it into our personal lives and expect changes, monumental changes to happen overnight. If I go to this retreat for 10 days, I'm going to come back transformed, forgetting that it took you 45 years to get to this state. And now you think a 10-day retreat is going to transform your life.
Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.